So from a retirement plan perspective, the university, when they're assessing retirement plan options, should assess ESG funds in exactly the same way that they assess quote-unquote non-ESG funds. So we're looking at three main things: performance, risk, and expenses. Performance being how a fund performs relative to its peers and relative to a benchmark, the risk that's necessary to achieve those returns, and whether the expenses are fair and reasonable. So to bring this to life a little bit, we always encourage our plan sponsors to take into account client demand. For example, some of our New Jersey-based plan sponsors have been getting more demand for halal funds. These are investment vehicles that are invested based on Islamic principles. So in this case, a plan sponsor should just assess whether this fund performs, has risks, and expenses in line with other options. And we absolutely invite you to speak with your record keeper, speak with your consultant, and consider all these options. Thank you.
Sure. So from an advisor's point of view, if a university president or other asset owner wanted to undertake a review of their portfolio, what we might suggest is, first of all, starting by understanding what are the key kind of performance indicators or key E, S, or G, environmental, social, or governance metrics that are important to that university or that endowment, to the stakeholders that the university is responsive to. What do they want to look at? Do they want to look at climate change related metrics? Do you want to maybe look at your greenhouse gas emissions across your portfolio? Are they diversity metrics? You know, how much exposure do you have to diverse boards of companies that you're invested in, for example? And what you can do is then, once you've identified some of those key metrics you'd like to track over time, work with a third-party data provider that can do a bottom-up analysis of what you actually are invested in, from looking at public equities, fixed income potentially, and maybe some of the other alternative asset classes depending on access to data. You do that screening, you pull all that investment information together, and you can create a dashboard of those key metrics. You can track over time to see where you are from a baseline perspective, starting today, to where you might be in 5-10 years' time, and see how it shifts. See if it's going in the right direction so that you feel like you're moving in the right direction that your stakeholders want you to go in.
It's really important that universities and colleges take a fresh look at the retirement plan options for their employees, because the Department of Labor is releasing some new guidelines that will increase their ability to offer ESG options in the portfolio. And this is a win-win. Not only does it give their employees more choice, it gives them a chance to align where they're investing for their retirement with their values, but it also is a real way for the higher ed sector to multiply its climate impact. Up till now, we focus mostly on just the endowment and how it's invested. Well, this is another about $1 trillion worth of assets that the sector can influence by giving employees the ability to choose where they want to put their retirement dollars.
In terms of what asset managers are hearing from asset owners and what they're seeking from sustainable investment product, it's different across the board. Everyone's in a different place. And so the job of us as asset managers is to meet everybody where they're at, whether it's looking to encompass all things sustainability in a kind of all-encompassing package of considering sustainability risks for integration, or if there's actually objectives and criteria and outcomes that are being considered, whether it's climate change or more socially focused issues such as diversity and inclusion and a just transition, which also cross-intersects with climate. So the point is, everyone's going to be in a different place, and right now we really need to continue to educate on what options can look like to demonstrate economic viability of sustainable investment options, and from there really make sure that the end process entails reporting that information back, measuring those outcomes in a way that demonstrates alignment to what those perceived interests are.